Hey, John.
Jason, my man, how you now?
Not so bad, and you?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good.
Uh,
Getting ready to go on holiday, man. So I'm going to go away for a week,
I am
and I'm going to come
jealous.
back if, as long as I don't get eaten. I'm going to come back and be all ready to roll for conference season.
Yes, man. It's looking really good. We tend to be known as the Power BI guys at the
Kind of.
SharePoint Fest conference.
Yeah.
At least a couple of them. We have a bunch of good Power BI folks that do sessions at this conference, and it's not just guys. We have some great gals that do it
Yep.
as well. But SharePoint Fest DC. One of my favorites of the year. I love being in DC in the spring. This year, it's in the middle of April, April
Hmm.
13th to the 17th, and we are coming out at
Cherry
as the
blossoms.
cherry blossoms are blooming, so
Yep.
are we. It's going to be a great time. You know,
Oh.
bring in our favorite workshop. We're doing everything you want to know about Power BI, but we're afraid to ask. This session shows up in a lot of different
It
times at
does.
SharePoint Fest. But folks, it's different every time.
It
John and
is.
I spent half the day yesterday looking through all of the great new content in Power BI Desktop that just dropped yesterday, figuring out what's going to go into our workshop for April for you. So when you come out to SharePoint Fest DC, you will expect to see all sorts of new stuff around incremental refresh that is now generally available, not only for premium customers, but in Pro as well.
As of yesterday. Yeah, big
Yes,
news.
so very big news. Lots of great stuff. All the new ribbon changes that have come to Power BI. And if you have no idea what we're talking about and you're just
Yep.
tiptoeing into Power BI, this
Don't be
session's for
afraid.
you also. Don't
Yep.
be afraid. The whole idea is for you to come get a whole bunch of knowledge. When you leave there, you're going to be going, oh, I know exactly what that incremental refresh thing was, but
Yeah.
I didn't know what Power BI Desktop was when I walked in the door.
Right.
We will take you from soup to nuts, as John likes to say, through a Power BI journey and help you understand how to get started and how to get going. And that way, throughout the rest of the conference, you can come to some of our other sessions and get deeper and deeper into Power BI.
Yeah, we're going to aim at SharePoint as well. We've got a specific focus on SharePoint. So all of that good Power BI stuff, and show you how it relates to SharePoint. Given that we're SharePoint guys ourselves.
That we are. We are SharePoint DNA with a nice good base layer of Power BI.
There you go.
It's a
There you go.
good mix. But John, we don't have just a workshop at
Right.
this conference. We have a lot of sessions at this conference.
Yeah, we should break it on down. I mean, we talked about intro. Well, we've got a session specifically for introducing people to Power BI, and it's called, oddly enough, Your Guide to Understanding Power BI.
Yes, so this session really will help you, and it's a hands-on session. It is not just a deck session. We're going to do
Right.
some demo as a part of it. This session is the second session of the conference. Once the conference actually launches, you have your keynote and then first block. This is the second block. So you will get a good hands-on walkthrough of what is Power BI, and we're going to get into the weeds and help you understand what this thing is so you can have a good understanding of how to move forward, including
Yep.
a little bit about licensing as well, which is one of the topics that we get questions
All
all
the
the
time.
time. So,
Mhm.
and then John, the next one up is our hybrid business intelligence session, because yes, you can still do that.
Yeah, it's something we've been doing for a while, and a lot of people think the move to the cloud is absolute. Well, no, there is definitely many hybrid scenarios. We articulate every single, well, maybe not every single one, but an awful lot of them in this session. How you can put this workload up in the cloud and keep this workload on premises, and vice versa, et cetera, and why you might want to do that. So I think if you live in that hybrid environment, and in DC, I'm sure there's an awful lot of that. You're definitely going to want to come to this talk.
Yeah. Anybody who's trying to keep on-premises data going and has a lot of on-premises data, but wants to be able to visualize their data in Power BI,
Mm-hmm.
this is a session for you. Next
Absolutely.
one shows up on the next day. This is going to be, I believe this is going to be on Thursday, telling data stories with Power BI. It's in the second session block of the day. This is my pure demo session.
Yes.
And John, you always join me for this one. It's a lot of fun.
It's always fun watching you dance, man.
This is one where I do a little Julia Child action. I show you what a completed thing looks like, and then I walk you through how we got to that point with a couple of different demos. Sometimes we just pick one out and grab it and do something on the fly, completely brand new. So as John said, a lot of tiptoe and a lot of tap dancing around, hoping that the internet connections are really rock solid and everything. But there's no deck for this one, folks. This one is come and see how I use Power BI to do my job.
It's a good one. And then I get a little more esoteric. If you're into Power BI, or you're wondering about what these new data flows things are, is data flows? Is it a single? Anyway,
It's non-binary, John. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We can have dual pronouns for it. It's okay.
It's a place for your stuff. I basically go into exactly what data flows in Power BI are and how you can use them. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. And then we got another one of yours.
Yes. So I flip back over, get out of the BI space, and go talk more about a little bit, more focused on, what is this business transformation thing that Jason talks about? Because there's this digital transformation concept. Well, what is business transformation? A little bit different concept. So I talk about business transformation in the digital age. And that session is the first one up on Friday morning. And then lastly, John, you deep dive into Power BI and SharePoint. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm joining you for that one as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is actually my favorite talk. It's probably because it's about both SharePoint and Power BI, and just drill into all of the different ways that these two things work together, because SharePoint is a multi-headed beast, and we talk about three of those heads. SharePoint is a data source, SharePoint is a data container, and then SharePoint as a platform for visualizations. So there's a little bit of something for everybody. If you're into SharePoint and you want to add Power BI, this is definitely a session for you.
Yeah, and this is something that we've been talking about for years, because back before, when it was Power Pivot and where do you store everything, this has been a maturity story for
You wrote
Microsoft.
a book.
I did actually write a book about this topic. So we've been doing this for a long time, and we finally realized that we were missing something, and specifically at SharePoint Fest, which was something that the attendees have been asking us to do. We've brought it back, completely revamped this topic, and we will be deep diving into it. Looking forward to seeing you there. There's a bunch of deck stuff that you'll be able to take home with you as well, but also a good amount of demos. We'll show you how you do it. John, I can't wait till you come back from vacation so we can keep getting pumped up for SharePoint Fest DC.
I can't wait to leave.
Be in there. It's going to be a great conference.
It will.
See you there, buddy.
See you there, man. Bye.